The whiskey burned just right as I sat alone in my kitchen, staring at the crumpled hotel receipt I'd found in Fiona's gym bag. $300 for a night at the Riverside Inn. Last Tuesday. The same Tuesday she'd told me she was working late at the fitness club, helping some client with their personal training goals. I'm Eddie McAllister, 42 years old, and I fix cars for a living. My hands are permanently stained with grease, my back aches from crawling under engines, and apparently, my wife thinks I'm too stupid to notice when she's screwing around. Eddie? Mr. Selby's weathered face appeared at my kitchen window, making me jump. The old man had a talent for showing up at the worst possible moments. Fiona's car wasn't in the driveway last night. Hope everything's okay. I forced a smile and waved him off. She's been working late a lot. You know how it is. But I didn't know how it was. Not really. Not until I found that receipt. Fiona had been different lately. New clothes, expensive perfume, suddenly obsessed with her appearance in ways that had nothing to do with me. She'd started working at Travis Reed's upscale fitness center 6 months ago, and ever since, she'd been coming home later and later, always with stories about difficult clients and equipment maintenance. The front door slammed shut, and I quickly stuffed the receipt into my pocket. Eddie? I'm home. Fiona's voice carried that fake cheerfulness she'd been using lately. She walked into the kitchen looking like she'd stepped out of a fitness magazine. Perfectly styled blonde hair, makeup still flawless despite supposedly working all day. How was work? I asked, taking another sip of whiskey. Oh, you know, same old stuff. Travis had me staying late to help with the new member orientation program. She kissed my cheek, and I caught a whiff of expensive cologne. Not mine. Travis seems to need a lot of help lately. She stiffened slightly. He's expanding the business. It's a big opportunity for me. I'll bet it is, I thought. Must be nice having such a hands-on boss. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, sweetheart. Just making conversation. She studied my face for a moment, then shrugged. I'm going to take a shower. Long day. As her footsteps disappeared upstairs, I pulled out the receipt again. Room 237. One night, and according to the date stamp, she'd checked out at 11:47 a.m., long after she should have been at work. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Richie. Drinks at Murphy's tonight? You look like you could use one. I texted back, make it 2. We need to talk. Murphy's Pub was exactly what you'd expect from a working-class bar in Maine. Dim lighting, sticky floors, and bartenders who minded their own business. Richie was already there when I arrived, nursing a beer and chatting with Dave, one of my mechanics. Eddie, Richie called out. Perfect timing. Dave was just telling me about that fancy gym where your wife works. Dave grinned. Yeah, I was there picking up my girlfriend after her yoga class. Saw Fiona in the parking lot with some guy. Tall, muscular, looked like he owned the place. That would be Travis Reed, I said, sliding into the booth. Her boss. Seemed real friendly, Dave continued. Had his hand on her lower back, walking her to her car. Thought it was a little weird, but hey, maybe that's how fancy gym people say goodbye. Richie caught the look on my face. Everything okay, buddy? I pulled out the hotel receipt and slapped it on the table. Found this in Fiona's bag tonight. Dave whistled low. Riverside Inn? That's not exactly a business meeting kind of place. She told me she was working late that night, I said. Helping with client consultations. Maybe she was, Richie said, but his voice lacked conviction. Could be innocent. Yeah, and maybe I'm the Pope. I downed half my beer in one gulp. I need to know for sure. Dave leaned forward. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time I paid more attention to my wife's work schedule. The next morning, Fiona left for work at her usual time, 8:30 a.m. sharp. I waited 20 minutes, then drove to the fitness center. Travis Reed's gym was one of those upscale places with floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive equipment, and monthly fees that cost more than most people's car payments. I parked across the street and waited. At 10:15, Fiona emerged from the building with a tall, dark-haired man who had to be Travis. He was everything I wasn't. 6 feet tall, perfectly groomed, wearing clothes that probably cost more than I made in a week. They walked to his silver BMW, and I watched as he opened the passenger door for her. They drove off together, heading toward downtown. I followed at a distance, my heart pounding. They pulled into the parking lot of the Riverside Inn, the same hotel from the receipt. I sat in my truck, watching as they walked into the lobby together. Travis's hand was on the small of Fiona's back, just like Dave had described. They moved with the easy familiarity of people who'd done this before. My phone rang. It was Fiona. "Hi, honey." Her voice was bright and casual. "Just wanted to let you know I'll be working through lunch today. Travis has me doing inventory in the storage room." "Sounds riveting," I managed to say. "It is pretty boring, but the overtime pay will be nice. I should be home by 6. "Take your time." I hung up and stared at the hotel entrance. My wife of 15 years was inside that building, in bed with another man, while lying to me about inventory. Something cold and hard settled in my chest. This wasn't just an affair. This was calculated, deliberate betrayal. And if Fiona thought she could make a fool out of Eddie McAllister, she was about to learn just how wrong she could be. The next few days were torture. I went through the motions of normal life, fixing cars, making small talk with customers, pretending everything was fine when Fiona came home with her fake stories about difficult clients and equipment maintenance. But inside, I was planning. I'd always been good at solving problems. When a car wouldn't start, I didn't just guess at the issue. I investigated, gathered evidence, and found the root cause. This situation wasn't any different. First, I needed more information. I started paying attention to Fiona's habits. She always left her phone charging in the bathroom while she showered. On Thursday morning, while she was scrubbing off the scent of her afternoon client consultation, I scrolled through her messages. Most were innocent. Texts to her sister, reminders about grocery shopping, conversations with her friend Megan, who also worked at the gym. But then I found the thread with Travis and my blood pressure spiked. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait for the reunion next month. Let's show him who's boss." "You're amazing. Eddie doesn't deserve you." "I know, but we need to be careful until after the divorce. My lawyer says I can get the house and half his business if we play this right." "Don't worry, baby. I'll take care of you. Eddie won't know what hit him." I took screenshots with my own phone, then carefully placed hers back on the charger. My hands were shaking with rage, but my mind was crystal clear. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to destroy me. The high school reunion Fiona mentioned was our 25th, scheduled for next month at the Riverside Hotel ballroom. The same hotel where they'd been meeting. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so infuriating. But two could play this game. That afternoon, I drove to the gym during what I knew was Travis's usual workout time. The place was busy with the after-work crowd. Professionals in expensive athletic wear, grunting and sweating on machines that cost more than my truck. Travis was easy to spot. He was doing bicep curls in front of the mirror wall, admiring his reflection between sets. Everything about him screamed arrogance. From his perfectly styled hair to his designer workout clothes, to the way he nodded at the female staff members like he was doing them a favor by acknowledging their existence. I watched him for 20 minutes, studying his routine, his interactions with the staff, his obvious belief that he was God's gift to the fitness world. Then I left, but not before noting the location of his silver BMW in the parking lot. That evening, I called Richie. "I need a favor," I said. "Name it." "Remember your cousin Pete? The one who works for the private investigation firm?" "Yeah, what about him?" "I need some information gathered, discreetly." Richie was quiet for a moment. "This is about Fiona, isn't it?" "It's about making sure I know exactly what I'm dealing with before I make any decisions." "Eddie, maybe you should just confront her directly. Ask her what's going on." "And give her a chance to lie to my face again?" "No thanks. I want facts, Richie. Real evidence. The kind that holds up in divorce court." Pete met me at Murphy's the next evening. He was a thin, nervous-looking guy who reminded me of an accountant, but Richie assured me he was good at his job. "Your wife and Travis Reed," Pete said, sliding a manila folder across the table. "They've been meeting at the Riverside Inn twice a week for the past 2 months. Always the same room, 237. Always between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays." I opened the folder. Inside were photographs of Fiona and Travis entering and leaving the hotel, timestamps showing they'd spent hours together, credit card records showing Travis had paid for the room each time. There's more, Pete continued. Reed's been through 2 divorces already. Both times he convinced the wives to leave their husbands for him, then dumped them once the divorces were final. Apparently, he gets off on the conquest. What about his finances? Interesting question. The gym is doing well, but he's leveraged to the hilt. 3 business loans, 2 mortgages, and he just bought a new Porsche he can't afford. Guy's living way beyond his means. I studied the photos. In one, Travis had his arm around Fiona's waist as they walked into the hotel. In another, they were kissing in the parking lot. She looked happy in a way I hadn't seen in years. What about my wife? I asked. Clean record, no debts, no other relationships. But she's been meeting with a divorce attorney named Patricia Williams. Had 3 consultations in the past month. The betrayal cut deep, but I kept my expression neutral. Anything else? Reed's got a reputation around town. Likes to brag about his conquests at the country club bar. Apparently, he's been telling people your wife is trading up and that you're too stupid to notice. Now that pissed me off. I paid Pete his fee and drove home, my mind racing. Fiona's car was in the driveway, and through the kitchen window I could see her making dinner like nothing had changed. She looked up when I walked in, smiling that fake smile I'd grown to hate. How was your day, honey? Productive, I said. Very productive. Saturday morning, Fiona announced she was going to the gym for a special training session with Travis. She'd be gone most of the day, she said, working on some new fitness program they were developing. Sounds intensive, I said, not looking up from my coffee. It will be. Travis really knows how to push me to my limits. I'll bet he does, I thought. After she left, I called Dave. You busy today? Not particularly. Why? Feel like helping me with a little project? Dave arrived an hour later with a toolbox and a grin. What are we working on, boss? Travis Reed's BMW. It's been making some concerning noises. Has it now? What kind of noises? The kind that might require some emergency roadside assistance. We drove to the gym in Dave's truck. Travis's silver BMW was parked in its usual spot near the front entrance, gleaming in the morning sun like a monument to his ego. Nice car, Dave said. Be a shame if something happened to it. I pulled a small device from my pocket, a GPS tracker I'd ordered online. This needs to go under the rear bumper. Can you handle that while I create a distraction? What kind of distraction? The kind that involves me going inside to ask about membership rates. The gym's front desk was staffed by a young woman named Jessica who looked like she'd stepped off a magazine cover. She brightened when I walked in. Can I help you? I'm thinking about joining, I said. My wife Fiona works here, and she's always talking about how great this place is. Oh, you're Fiona's husband. She talks about you all the time. I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you. Is Travis around? Fiona says he's the best trainer in town. He's in the back office, but he's in a meeting right now. Would you like me to give you a tour while you wait? Perfect. That would be great. Jessica spent 20 minutes showing me around the facility, pointing out equipment and explaining membership packages. Through the large windows, I could see Dave working under Travis's car. He caught my eye and gave a subtle thumbs up. This is really impressive, I told Jessica. Let me think it over and get back to you. Of course. Here's my card. And tell Fiona I said hi. Dave was waiting in the truck when I came out. All set. That little tracker will tell you everywhere he goes. What about the other thing? Dave grinned and held up a small valve stem tool. His rear tires are going to develop a slow leak. Nothing dangerous, just annoying. He'll probably notice it by tomorrow. Perfect. That evening, Fiona came home glowing with post-workout endorphins and what I now recognized as post-sex satisfaction. How was your training session? I asked. Exhausting, but amazing. Travis really pushed me today. I can barely walk. The double meaning wasn't lost on me. I'm sure he did. I think I'm going to take a hot bath and go to bed early. All that physical activity really wore me out. You do that, sweetheart. You've earned it. The GPS tracker worked perfectly. Over the next few days, I watched Travis's movements on my phone app. Gym, country club, expensive restaurants, and twice more to the Riverside Inn. Each time he went to the hotel, Fiona had a convenient excuse to work late. But the real entertainment started Tuesday morning when Travis discovered his flat tires. I was having coffee at the diner across from the gym when he came storming out of the building, phone pressed to his ear. Even from a distance, I could see he was furious. "What do you mean it'll take 2 hours?" he shouted into the phone. "I have appointments today." He spent the next 20 minutes pacing around his disabled BMW, making increasingly agitated phone calls. Finally, a tow truck arrived to take the car to a tire shop. Fiona called me around noon, sounding frustrated. "Travis is having car trouble," she said. "We had to cancel our afternoon training session." "That's too bad. Car problems are the worst." "I know, right?" He thinks someone might have done it on purpose. Like, who would do something so petty? "Hard to imagine," I said, smiling to myself. That evening, I was working late at my shop when an unexpected visitor arrived. Travis Reed himself, looking less polished than usual in jeans and a wrinkled polo shirt. "You Eddie McAllister?" he asked, walking into the garage like he owned the place. "That's me. What can I do for you? I heard you're the best mechanic in town. My car's been having some problems." I wiped my hands on a rag and looked him over. Up close, he was even more arrogant than I'd expected. Everything about his posture screamed superiority, like he was doing me a favor by bringing his business to my humble shop. "What kind of problems?" "Tire issues. Had 2 flats this week. The tire shop says there's nothing wrong with the tires themselves, but they keep losing air." "Huh. That's weird. Could be the rims, could be the valve stems. Hard to say without looking at it." "Can you take a look tomorrow? I'll pay whatever your rate is." This was too perfect. "Sure thing. Bring it by first thing in the morning." He handed me a business card. "Travis Reed. I own Reed Fitness Center." "Nice to meet you, Travis. My wife actually works there. Fiona McAllister." His face went pale for just a second before he recovered. "Oh, right, Fiona. Great employee. Real dedicated. She sure is. Always staying late, going above and beyond. You're lucky to have her." "Yeah, she's very committed to her work." "I'm sure you take good care of her." "Of course. I take care of all my employees." We stared at each other for a moment, and I could see the wheels turning in his head. He was wondering how much I knew, trying to figure out if this was a coincidence or something more. "Well," he said finally, "I should get going. See you tomorrow morning." "Looking forward to it, Travis. I'll take real good care of your car." After he left, I called Richie. "Phase 1 is complete," I said. "How'd he react when he realized who you were?" "Like a deer in headlights, but he's trying to play it cool." "What's phase 2? I looked at the business card Travis had given me, then tossed it in the trash. "Phase 2 is where things get interesting." Travis brought his BMW to my shop the next morning, acting like we were old friends. He was trying too hard to be casual, making small talk about the weather and asking questions about my business. I could see him studying my workspace, probably trying to figure out if I was the kind of guy who would slash his tires. "Nice setup you got here," he said, watching me examine his car. "Thanks. Built it from nothing over the past 15 years. Blood, sweat, and tears, you know?" "That's admirable, self-made success. I respect that." I jacked up the BMW and started checking the wheels. "What about you? Always been in the fitness business?" "Pretty much. Started as a personal trainer, worked my way up. Now I own 3 locations. Must be nice having employees you can trust, especially the good ones like Fiona." He shifted uncomfortably. "Yeah, she's reliable." Reliable's important, in business and in marriage. Don't you think? Absolutely. I found the tiny punctures Dave had made in his valve stems and pretended to discover them for the first time. "Well, here's your problem. Someone's been messing with your valve stems. See these little holes? That's why your tires keep losing air. Travis leaned in to look. Are you serious? Someone did this on purpose? Afraid so. Good news is it's an easy fix. Bad news is someone's got it out for you. Who would do something like that? I shrugged. Could be anyone. Disgruntled customer, jealous competitor, angry husband. You never know what might set people off. The color drained from his face. Angry husband? Just an example. You married, Travis? Divorced. Twice, actually. Ah, well then you know how messy relationships can get. People don't always handle betrayal well. I let that hang in the air while I replaced his valve stems. Travis stood there in uncomfortable silence, probably wondering if I was just making conversation or sending him a message. There you go, I said, lowering the car. Good as new. But you might want to be more careful where you park, and maybe watch who you piss off. He paid me in cash and left without another word. That afternoon, I decided to visit Fiona at work. I'd never done that before. She'd always said it was unprofessional to have family members hanging around the gym, but I figured it was time to see her professional environment for myself. The fitness center was busy with the lunch crowd. I spotted Fiona immediately. She was leading a group fitness class, looking energetic and confident in her form-fitting workout clothes. She was good at her job, I had to admit. It was almost a shame she was throwing it all away for a sleazy affair. Excuse me, are you looking for someone? A voice behind me belonged to a woman in her 30s with short brown hair and suspicious eyes. I'm here to see my wife, Fiona McAllister. The woman's expression changed. Oh, you're Eddie. I'm Megan, Fiona's friend. She's mentioned you. I'll bet she has, I thought. Nice to meet you, Megan. Fiona talks about you, too. She's finishing up a class right now. Should be done in about 10 minutes. That's okay, I can wait. This is a really nice place. Travis has done well for himself. Megan's smile faltered slightly. Yes, he's very successful. Fiona really enjoys working here. Says Travis is a great boss, very hands-on. He's very involved in the business. I'm sure he is. Fiona's always telling me about their special training sessions. Sounds like he really knows how to push her buttons. Megan was looking increasingly uncomfortable. I should go check on the front desk. Nice meeting you, Eddie. She hurried away, and I smiled to myself. Word would get back to Travis that I'd been here, asking questions and making comments. Let him sweat a little. Fiona spotted me as her class ended. She looked surprised and not entirely pleased to see me. Eddie? What are you doing here? Thought I'd surprise you. Maybe take you to lunch. That's sweet, but I can't. I have a client consultation in 20 minutes. With Travis? No, with a new member. Mrs. Patterson. She wants to discuss a personalized fitness plan. I looked around the gym. Which one is Mrs. Patterson? Fiona's eyes darted nervously. She's not here yet. We're meeting in Travis's office to go over her health history and goals. His office? That's convenient. It's where we keep all the consultation materials. Eddie, is everything okay? You seem different lately. Different how? I don't know. More suspicious, more sarcastic than usual. I stepped closer to her, close enough that she had to look up to meet my eyes. Maybe I'm just paying more attention to things. You know how it is when you start really looking at your life. You notice details you missed before. What kind of details? Oh, little things. Receipts in gym bags, text messages left open on phones, the way people act when they think no one's watching. Fiona went very still. What are you talking about? I'm talking about being more observant, more aware of what's really going on around me. Before she could respond, Travis appeared beside us. He looked tense and forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Eddie? Good to see you again. How's the car running? Perfect. Your valve stems are working great now. Good, good. Fiona, Mrs. Patterson just called. She needs to reschedule for tomorrow. Oh, okay. Fiona looked relieved. I guess I can go to lunch after all. Actually, Travis said quickly, Could you stay anyway? I wanted to go over the new member orientation procedures with you. I watched this exchange with interest. Travis was trying to keep Fiona away from me, probably afraid of what I might say or ask during lunch. That's too bad, I said. I was looking forward to hearing more about Fiona's work. She's always so tired when she gets home from her afternoon sessions with you. Must be pretty intense training. Travis's jaw tightened. We believe in giving our clients the full experience. I'm sure you do. Well, I should let you two get back to your orientation procedures. I kissed Fiona on the cheek, making sure to look Travis in the eye as I did it. See you at home, sweetheart. Don't work too late. As I walked away, I could hear them having a hushed, urgent conversation. I couldn't make out the words, but their body language told me everything I needed to know. They were scared. Good. They should be. That evening, Fiona came home earlier than usual, around 5:30. She seemed nervous and kept glancing at me like she was trying to read my mood. How was the rest of your day? She asked while making dinner. Productive. Fixed Travis's car, met some of your coworkers, learned a lot about the fitness business. What did you think of the gym? Very impressive. Travis has built quite an operation. I can see why you enjoy working there so much. She relaxed slightly. It's a good job. Good benefits, flexible schedule. And great boss from what I hear. Megan seemed a little nervous when I mentioned him, though. Fiona's knife paused mid-chop. Nervous how? I don't know. Just jumpy when I talked about how hands-on he is with his employees. Maybe she's not used to meeting employees' husbands. Maybe. We ate dinner in relative silence, but I could feel the tension radiating from her. She kept checking her phone, probably hoping for a text from Travis telling her what to do next. After dinner, I went out to my workshop behind the house. I had a project to work on, a little surprise for the upcoming high school reunion that Fiona and Travis were so looking forward to. I was still out there when Fiona went to bed. Through the bedroom window, I could see her silhouette as she paced back and forth, phone pressed to her ear. The conversation lasted almost an hour. Let them plan and worry and try to figure out their next move. I was 3 steps ahead of them, and they didn't even know the game had started. 2 weeks before the reunion, Fiona's behavior became increasingly erratic. She was jumpier, more defensive, and started working even later hours. According to my GPS tracker, Travis was making daily trips to the Riverside Inn, sometimes alone, sometimes with Fiona. They were getting sloppy, probably panicked by my unexpected visits and pointed comments. Good. Panicked people make mistakes. I was at Murphy's with Richie when Coach Peretti walked in. He'd been our high school football coach and was now in charge of organizing class reunions. He spotted me immediately and came over to our table. Eddie McAllister, just the man I wanted to see. Hey, Coach, how's retirement treating you? Can't complain. Listen, I need a favor. We're having some issues with the sound system for the reunion. The hotel's equipment is garbage, and the company we hired to provide backup just canceled. I heard you're good with electronics. I know my way around audio equipment. What do you need? Someone to set up microphones, speakers, maybe run the slideshow presentation. Nothing too complicated, but it needs to work perfectly. This is our 25th. We want it to be special. I pretended to consider it. I suppose I could help out. When do you need me there? Day of the event, probably around noon to set up. The reunion starts at 7. I'll be there. Coach Peretti beamed. Thanks, Eddie. You're a lifesaver. Oh, and I saw Fiona's name on the attendance list. Looking forward to seeing you both. Wouldn't miss it for the world. After Coach left, Richie raised an eyebrow. You're up to something? I'm helping out an old friend. Bullshit. You're planning something big for the reunion, aren't you? I finished my beer and smiled. The reunion's going to be very educational, for everyone involved. The next morning, I drove to the Riverside Hotel to scout the ballroom. It was a nice space. High ceilings, elegant decor, and a raised platform at one end for the DJ and any presentations. Perfect for what I had in mind. The hotel manager, a friendly woman named Carol, showed me around and explained the setup. The microphone will be here on the platform, she said, and we'll have speakers positioned around the room for optimal sound quality. Will you need access to the projection system? Probably. I might want to test it beforehand to make sure everything's compatible. No problem. You can come in that afternoon to set up. We really appreciate you helping out. Coach Peretti speaks very highly of you. Coach has been good to me over the years. Happy to return the favor. That afternoon, I paid another visit to Pete, the private investigator. I need one more favor, I told him. What kind of favor? I need you to be at the Riverside Hotel next Saturday night. Bring a camera with a good zoom lens and be ready to document whatever happens. Pete looked nervous. Eddie, what are you planning? Nothing illegal. Just making sure there's an accurate record of events. This sounds like it could get messy. It might, but it'll all be perfectly legal and completely justified. I paid him his fee and went home to make final preparations. The GPS tracker showed that Travis and Fiona were meeting at the hotel again that Thursday. I decided it was time for another surprise visit. I waited in the lobby until they came downstairs, looking disheveled and satisfied. They were holding hands and laughing about something, completely absorbed in each other. I was sitting in a chair near the elevator when the doors opened. Eddie! Fiona gasped, dropping Travis's hand like it was on fire. Well, this is a surprise, I said, standing up slowly. Fancy meeting you two here? Travis recovered first, putting on his fake smile. Eddie? What brings you to the Riverside? Business meeting. Potential client wanted to discuss a fleet maintenance contract. What about you two? Fiona's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Travis stepped slightly in front of her, protective. We were discussing the new fitness program Fiona's developing. Needed somewhere quiet to go over the details. In a hotel? The restaurant here has a great business lunch atmosphere. Very professional. I looked around the lobby. Funny, I don't see any restaurant menus or business papers, but I do see the elevator from the guest room floors. We were just leaving, Fiona said quickly. The meeting's over. I'm sure it is. How was room 237? Still your favorite? The blood drained from both their faces. Travis's fake smile finally disappeared. What's that supposed to mean? He asked. Just making conversation. I hear it's a nice room. Great view, comfortable bed. Perfect for long afternoon meetings. Eddie, Fiona said, her voice shaking, I can explain. I'm sure you can. But not here. We'll talk at home. I walked past them toward the hotel exit, then turned back. Oh, and Travis, you might want to be more careful about your car. This neighborhood can be rough. Never know what might happen to expensive vehicles left unattended. I left them standing in the lobby, probably wondering how much I knew and what I planned to do about it. That night, Fiona tried to explain. She sat on the edge of our bed, tears streaming down her face, spinning a story about how Travis was just a friend, how they'd been discussing her career opportunities, how the hotel meeting was perfectly innocent. I let her talk. I even pretended to believe some of it. But inside, I was counting down the days until the reunion. I love you, Eddie, she said finally. You have to believe that. I believe you think you do. What's that supposed to mean? It means actions speak louder than words, Fiona. And your actions have been pretty clear lately. She reached for my hand. Things can go back to the way they were. We can work this out. I pulled away. Can we? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've already made your choice. It's not what you think. Then what is it? She was quiet for a long moment. It's complicated. No, it's not. It's actually pretty simple. You're sleeping with your boss and planning to divorce me. The only complicated part is figuring out how to handle it. Eddie, please. The reunion's this Saturday. We're going together, as husband and wife. After that, we'll see where things stand. She nodded, probably thinking she still had time to figure out damage control. What she didn't know was that the damage was already done. I was just waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. Saturday arrived gray and drizzly, typical Maine weather that matched my mood perfectly. I spent the morning at the hotel, setting up the sound system and testing the projection equipment. Coach Peretti was there, nervous about every detail. "The slideshow is loaded and ready to go," he told me. 25 years of memories. Should be fun to watch. "I'm sure it will be," I said, making final adjustments to the microphone. Everything's working perfectly. What Coach didn't know was that I'd added a few extra files to the presentation. Photos and documents that would make this reunion unforgettable. Pete arrived around 5, dressed in a suit and carrying a camera bag. He looked nervous but determined. "You sure about this, Eddie?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." "What if it backfires? What if people think you're the bad guy?" "Then at least they'll know the truth. Sometimes that's all you can do." Fiona spent 2 hours getting ready, trying on 3 different dresses before settling on a black cocktail dress that hugged her curves. She looked beautiful, and for a moment, I remembered why I'd fallen in love with her 25 years ago. "You look nice," I told her. "Thank you." "So do you." I was wearing my best suit, the one I'd gotten married in. It still fit, though it was a little tight around the middle. We drove to the hotel in silence. Fiona kept checking her reflection in the mirror, and I could see her hands shaking slightly. She was nervous, probably wondering if Travis would be there and how they'd handle being in the same room with me. The ballroom was already crowded when we arrived. Classmates I hadn't seen in years were mingling around cocktail tables, comparing photos of kids and grandkids, talking about careers and retirement plans. It was exactly what you'd expect from a 25th reunion, middle-aged people trying to recapture their youth. "Eddie! Fiona! Coach Peretti appeared at our side. Glad you made it." "Eddie, the sound system is working perfectly. Thanks again for your help." "My pleasure, Coach." We found our assigned table and sat down with 6 other classmates. The conversation was the usual reunion small talk. Who was doing what? Where people lived now who'd gotten divorced or remarried. I participated when necessary, but mostly I was watching the room. Travis arrived fashionably late, wearing an expensive suit and his trademark arrogant smile. He worked the room like a politician, shaking hands and making small talk with anyone who'd listen. Several women seemed impressed by his success and confidence. He hadn't seen us yet, but I knew it was only a matter of time. "Is that Travis Reed?" asked Janet Morrison, one of our former classmates. "I heard he owns several businesses now." "He's done very well for himself," Fiona said carefully. "Didn't you used to date him in high school, Fiona?" "Briefly. Senior year. That was news to me." Fiona had never mentioned dating Travis in high school. "He was such a player back then," Janet continued. "Always juggling multiple girlfriends. Some things never change, I guess." Travis finally spotted our table and headed over, his smile growing wider as he approached. "Fiona, you look absolutely stunning." He kissed her cheek, letting his hand linger on her shoulder a beat too long. Then he turned to me. "Eddie, good to see you again." "Travis, enjoying the reunion?" "It's great seeing everyone. Really brings back memories." He pulled up an empty chair and joined our table, positioning himself directly across from Fiona. The chemistry between them was obvious to anyone paying attention, though they were trying to be subtle about it. "So, Travis," I said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear, "Fiona tells me you two have been working closely together. Lots of late nights, special training sessions. Sounds very intensive." Travis's smile faltered slightly. "We're developing some new programs. It requires extra time and attention to detail." "I'm sure it does. Fiona comes home exhausted from your sessions. You must really know how to push her to her limits." Fiona kicked me under the table, but I ignored her. Around us, people were starting to pay attention to the conversation. "Eddie," Fiona said through gritted teeth, "maybe we should get some drinks." "Good idea." "Travis, what are you drinking? Something strong, I hope." "You might need it." Before he could answer, Coach Peretti tapped the microphone on the platform. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. It's time for our slideshow presentation. 25 years of memories from the class of 1998. The lights dimmed, and the first slide appeared on the large screen. Our graduation photo. The room erupted in cheers and applause as people recognized their younger selves. For the next 10 minutes, the presentation showed typical reunion fare. Yearbook photos, newspaper clippings about classmates' achievements, wedding pictures, family photos. People laughed and pointed and called out names as familiar faces appeared on screen. I was operating the presentation from a laptop at the back of the room, waiting for my moment. Then it came. And now, Coach Peretti announced, let's take a look at some more recent photos, showing how our classmates are doing today. The next slide showed Travis and Fiona entering the Riverside Hotel, timestamp clearly visible. The room went quiet. This is an interesting one, I said into the microphone, having quietly moved to the platform. Taken last Tuesday afternoon. That's Travis Reed and Fiona McAllister, my wife, going into the hotel where we're having this reunion. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Fiona stood up from her chair, her face white with shock. The next slide showed them kissing in the hotel parking lot. And here they are after their business meeting. Very professional, don't you think? Eddie, stop this, Fiona shouted. But I was just getting started. The next slide was a screenshot of their text messages, blown up large enough for everyone to read. Last night was incredible. Can't wait for the reunion. Let's show him who's boss. You're amazing. Eddie doesn't deserve you. The room was dead silent now. Travis was on his feet, his face red with anger and embarrassment. This is insane, he yelled. You can't do this. Actually, I can. These are my wife's text messages, and this is a public event. I'm just sharing some interesting information with old friends. The final slide was the hotel receipt I'd found in Fiona's bag, along with credit card records showing Travis had paid for multiple hotel visits. So there you have it, folks. Your successful businessman Travis Reed and my devoted wife Fiona conducting their affair right here in this hotel. The same hotel where we're celebrating our 25th reunion. I thought you should all know what kind of people they really are. The room erupted. Some people were shouting, others were taking pictures with their phones, and a few were trying to get closer to the action. Travis pushed through the crowd toward the platform, but several of our former football teammates blocked his path. You son of a bitch, Travis screamed. I'll sue you for this. For what? Telling the truth? Good luck with that. Fiona was crying now, surrounded by former classmates who were either offering comfort or asking pointed questions. Megan, who had apparently come as Travis's date, was trying to slip out of the room unnoticed. Ladies and gentlemen, I said into the microphone, I want to thank you all for coming tonight. It's been very educational. And Travis, thanks for taking such good care of my wife. I'm sure she'll remember these special training sessions for the rest of her life. I stepped down from the platform and walked toward the exit. The crowd parted to let me through, and I could hear fragments of conversation as I passed. Can you believe it? I always thought there was something off about him. Poor Eddie. How humiliating. Did you see the look on Travis's face? Pete was waiting for me in the hotel lobby, grinning from ear to ear. Did you get it all? I asked. Every second. This is going to be legendary. Behind us, we could hear shouting and commotion from the ballroom. Hotel security was probably going to have their hands full tonight. What now? Pete asked. Now I go home and wait for the lawyers to call. I drove home alone, leaving Fiona to figure out her own transportation. The house felt different when I walked in. Quieter, emptier, but also somehow cleaner. Like a weight had been lifted. I poured myself a whiskey and sat in my kitchen, the same spot where I'd found that first hotel receipt. My phone was buzzing with calls and text messages, but I ignored them all. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. Divorce papers, property division, custody of our assets. But tonight, I just wanted to savor the moment. For 15 years, I'd been the faithful husband, the reliable provider, the guy who fixed everyone's problems and never complained. Tonight, I'd finally fixed the biggest problem of all. Fiona came home around midnight, her makeup smeared and her dress wrinkled. She stood in the kitchen doorway, looking at me with a mixture of anger and defeat. I hope you're satisfied, she said. Actually, I am. You've destroyed everything. My job, my reputation, my relationships. Was it worth it? You destroyed our marriage. I just made sure everyone knew about it. I loved you, Eddie. Despite everything, I did love you. No, you didn't. You loved the idea of having a safety net while you figured out your next move. There's a difference. She started to say something else, then stopped. We stood there in silence for a moment, 15 years of marriage reduced to this awkward standoff in our kitchen. I'll be staying at my sister's, she said finally. That's probably best. She went upstairs to pack a bag. I heard her moving around in our bedroom, opening drawers and closets, gathering the pieces of her life that she could carry. When she came back downstairs with her suitcase, she paused at the front door. For what it's worth, I'm sorry, not for leaving, but for how I did it. You deserved better than that. Yes, I did. Goodbye, Eddie. Goodbye, Fiona. The door closed behind her, and I was alone in the house we'd shared for over a decade. But for the first time in months, I didn't feel lonely. I felt free. The end, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching,